Hello, and a warm welcome to our weekly show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. And we're delighted to have on our show today the amazing Jody and Bayo from the Backstraight Boys.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Lovely to see you again. How are you?
Anna, we're very good. The same to you, because I remember back in the day, we used to see you all the time at all the athletics meets. You were very kind to us. And it's lovely to be reunited and to chat about everybody's favourite sport.
But we're very tired. We're very, very tired. I've had 3 hours sleep. I got to bed about 5:30 last night. But I'm up just for you. Only for you would I do this.
Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you. I know we're not looking at our freshest and best as we usually do, but it was worth it. Now, guys, let's get into Eugene, Oregon. So tell us about some of your very favorite moments from Eugene.
Let me just say, what a great championships. It's been a really great championships. The quality of the athletics is amazing across the board. It has been a struggle because of time difference and how difficult it is, like doing a bit of sleep and waking up. It's also, we were talking about this we did an Instagram live on our Instagram last night with Claire, and Catherine Mary joined us. And she's obviously there because she's the stadium announcer. But we were talking about how it's a little bit muted when you're watching in the middle of the night. And you can't scream and shout too much. You're not watching it with, Bayo's not around my house or I'm around his house watching it together. So you don't really have anyone to share it with apart from Twitter. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Obviously, the next two championships are going to be very good for our time zone. So there'll be a lot of screaming and shouting and drinking as well. We've not been able to have a drink because I don't want to drink at 4 a.m. unless I'm going to go out afterwards. So there's been minimal drinking. But yeah, what brilliant championships and some of the astonishing performances. Like I don't even know where to start because there's been so many. I think we have to start with the women's sprints.
I was just going to say that the queen of the championship so far is Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price. She's won five in a sprinting event. I mean, we have people. Sergei Bobka won 7, did he? Lars Riddell did 5. Pavel Fajek has just won 5. But to win 5 in a sprinting event over that many years, going back to 2009, she would have first won, wouldn't she?
Exactly. So it's not even 5 in a row. So it's over 7 world championships, is it? Because she was pregnant at one. Tori Bowie won, and who's the American one in 2011? 2011. Carmelita Jeter won one.
Oh yes.
But apart from that, it's been all Shelly-Ann, right?
13. Yeah.
13. Yeah.
So Shelly-Ann is just like an absolute marvel. And also, she's so lovely. Everybody loves Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price. She's just the nicest, funnest, like just an absolute delight. She's such a credit to the sport. On that same tap, the other person who is such a standout and is so brilliant is Alessandra Dos Santos, who was a captain in our fantasy league, wasn't he? So we're very pleased with our choice there. But like that 400 hurdles, after last year, the general consensus was, that was a once in a lifetime race. That like the world record, them all running so fast. We didn't think we'd actually see that for a while, even though they're going to be pushing each other. I thought it was the track. I thought it was the shoes or something, But no, he ran 46.2 easing up. Didn't even run the last 20 meters. And that's going to go on for years. They're all him and Rai Benjamin and who am I missing?
Carsten
Borhan, of course. They're all relatively young. Carsten's only like 26, 27 or something. And there's others coming. So it's so weird how 10 years ago, the men's 4 hurdles, you were winning the world in like 48-1.
Well, Carsten won his first worlds in 2017 in 48.
Yeah. And to go sub 48 was like a huge deal. And now you have to run sub 48 to get to the final, and you can't expect a medal much over 40, like 47.2 maybe. It's just brilliant. It's such a brilliant event at the moment, and they're all such a joy to watch. And that's really important, isn't it? There's so many athletes around at the moment who are just an absolute joy to watch.
Yeah. We've got to talk from a British perspective about Jake Whiteman in the 1500. And of course, we love it because we've been following Jake for years. We interviewed him at the British Trials just 3 weeks ago. We knew he was in good form, and we know he's up there and thereabouts. And on a good day, we always talk about a sneaky bronze. Like we're always saying, you know, there's always, if you're smart tactically, there's always room for a sneaky bronze. Well, Jake went and got a sneaky gold. And
yes, that's exactly what he did.
What was brilliant was it was tactical perfection. Absolute perfection. And Jakob, who is not always the most gracious in defeat, once again said something he was upset to be beaten by an inferior athlete. Well, sorry, Jakob, you were not as good. Yes, you were not as good. Jake beat you. He was better tactically, he was better physically, and he was a better athlete than you. His tactics was to take it to Jakob, and Jakob's not used to that. At 200 meters to go, Jakob's usually running away from people. And Jake was like, no, sorry, I'm going to go in front of you. You have to overtake me. And he couldn't do it because Jake was the better athlete. And just for years, like obviously there's not been a British world level, global gold medalist at the 1500 since Steve Cram back in 1983. And in between, we've had some great athletes, but there's always this British thing of like kind of staying around the back on the inside and thinking that's a tactic. We used to call it going to the back and staying there. And the new generation of British athletes, Jake and Josh and Laura and Healy in the 800 as well. Max Bergin, who unfortunately is not going to be here, but is an immaculate front runner. This new crop of British distance runners, they take no prisoners. They are tactically very astute. They're brave. They take it so that they've got lots of confidence. And this is going to be like, we've got amazing runners already. Laura ran a crazy race. That 1500 was a crazy race. And Laura got another medal. And the same way that Kelly inspired all of these runners 18 years ago, she inspired this generation of runners. It's going to be a conveyor belt now because young people coming up are going to want to be like Jake, are going to want to be like Laura and Keely. And so hopefully this can go on for a good few years. Britain's dominating in the middle distances again. But just I would show that race to every young athlete and say, Absolutely. This is how you run a 1500 meters.
Yeah, 100%.
Brilliant. Perfectly positioned the whole way. What other events are there? Oh, you know, one of my favorite things was it was the first race, the first gold medal. It was a women's 20-kilometer walk, and it was Kimberly Garcia Leon from Peru. Now, I don't even know an athlete from Peru. I definitely don't know a medalist from Peru. And I'm upset with World Athletics for the messing about with the walks. We've got a 20K. We're going to have a 35K for some random reason. And I think
it's just bizarre. It's just nonsense.
Well, I think what's going to happen is they're going to scrap the 20K and we're just going to have a 35.
Oh, absolutely, of course, so yeah. But 35K isn't a distance. It's just a totally made up Frankenstein distance, isn't it?
But isn't at the next World Championships, maybe you know this, Anna, at the next World Championships or Olympics, is there no walk? It's a walk relay or something.
There had been some talk about getting rid of the 50K and introducing this crazy relay story, but that's happily been shelved because that was, it was like the mixed relay thing. Oh, we need to have a mixed relay and everything. Great. On 400, it's wonderful. On race walk, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Never heard of a walk relay. There's no such thing, is there?
But especially if there's no individual event, there's just a relay. So we're having a relay of an event that doesn't exist.
Yes.
Yeah.
We won't get into it.
I was and still am a little bit anti the mixed relay just because it's just we used to say it's just another excuse for Alison and Felix to get a medal, which is exactly what it's turned out to be. And sprinters don't need another chance to get a medal. I'd love to see an Octagon relay or a relay for distance runners. A mixed relay for distance runners would be phenomenal. I don't need a mixed 4x4, but having said that, it's been some of the best races of the last two championships. So,
it's extremely entertaining, but it's entertaining because America haven't got a handle on it. So America is throwing in a D team and losing. So if they were throwing an A team, it wouldn't be very interesting at all. But they're not. So that's made it interesting because really interesting countries are winning medals. The problem is it doesn't fit in the schedule. It's like it's messy wherever you put it. You either are going to get lesser teams because it's too close to. You're going to get lesser teams basically, aren't you? Because there's nowhere to put it in the schedule where anyone but America can put extra teams in. So it either messes up races for other countries or allows America to put in a D team. It's just messy. It's unnecessary.
Yeah, but quite good fun.
Yeah, loads of fun.
What other events have there been? And something else I love, and this is what I love about athletics. It also is like there's all, like we talked earlier. There's all these different events for different people, and one of the fun results, and it's a complete surprise, was Feng Bin winning the discus.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know Feng Bin as an athlete. She'd thrown 66 meters this year in China, and we've not seen her since. But to come out and throw 69 meters and to do it in the backyard of the favourite and to beat her, it was a perfect podium because we love an underdog, and especially Americans in America can be a little bit overwhelming when they win everything. So we like to see an underdog beat an American on home soil, I'm sorry to say. But
that was amazing. Again, I mean, she killed the competition in the first round.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it, isn't it?
Throw, and it's like, oh. And I was really happy to see Sandra Perkovic because she's one of my favorites. She's so intense. Yes. She's such and just really outspoken. And it was quite amazing.
I love her Instagram.
Valerie Allman is the US thrower that was expected to dominate. Instead, you have the other ladies in shot put and hammer who win, and not Valerie.
Once again, we could talk about all events. We should just quickly mention the women's 200 last night as well, which is what we all stayed up for and why we're all tired today. It was the final, to be honest, was a little bit underwhelming, but only because the semi-finals had been so amazing.
Yeah.
Sharika, of course, ran really fast, but Jelian ran fast-ish. Dina got a medal outside 22, which was after the semi-finals was a bit of a shock. But I'm so happy for Dina to come back and not defend her title, but almost defend her title, to get another medal, especially after last year when she was so in such good form and got injured right at the wrong moment, and to come fourth in the 100 meters as well. Overall, very, very happy with the results from that event. It's been a great championships.
And we've still got 3 more days to go. So
3 more sleepless nights.
Oh yes. Let's take a very quick look then at the first 6 days of competition. We're not counting last night because it was way too, it was just a few hours ago. I mean, it was amazing, both finals, both the men and women's 200 were absolutely amazing. Yes. But let's have a look at what's happened in the first 6 days. So first with the sprints, hurdles and relays. And of course, podium sweep for the US in the men's 100. Wow. So Curly, Bracy, and Bromell, they really did it this year. It was kind of, they were a bit upset after the Tokyo Olympics. And it's funny because in the Tokyo Olympics, the US men, they had not performed well. And they came back with a vengeance this year. That was totally amazing.
But there's often a thing with American athletes, isn't there, who don't perform well outside of America. They're so used to competing on the collegiate circuit and in America that they don't necessarily travel well. Fortunately for them, they didn't need to travel from Eugene this time. It's the track they all love to run on.
And also, the men's sprinter, Phil, since Usain Bolt, they haven't quite caught fire. Since Usain retired, it's been there's no one's really dominated. There's not kind of that competition you need. Whereas on the women's side, it's the same faces over and over again battling it out. And we've all kind of grown to sort of know and love them. That same hasn't happened with the men's. And it seems to slowly be coming back. It is a shame that Lamont Jacobs wasn't there because after winning the Olympics, you want someone to come and maybe... Well, last year he won the Olympics and the World Indoors, didn't he? I think he won the European Indoors before that. But you wanted him to come and dominate. But it's worked out really well for America, and it's good for the sprints. It's good for the sprints when you have people coming and dominating again. So Fred Curley's looking at the main man now, and he needs others becoming to try and take him down.
And it was also a shame.
He's impressive. Fred Curley really is impressive. Not the most talkative and outspoken guy, but gosh, can he run?
But that's kind of the problem with the men's 100 for the moment. They haven't had a real character. Kristen Coleman is the same. Kristen Coleman doesn't really have a personality. Lamont Jacobs, we thought, could maybe be the one. He's injured this year. So it's going to take a while to kind of get those personalities and rivalries back going like we have in the women's, which is kind of, as we say,
and like we do in the men's 200, because Noah Lyles is a great personality.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to see him run some more 100 meters, because he could be up there.
Agree.
I mean, absolutely, he could be winning the 100 meters as well. It was also a shame that Ferdinand Omanyala had visa issues and didn't arrive like till an hour before, because I think he would have made the final. And he was consistently running 10.8s, so he could have been a challenger. But yeah, it's getting there with the men's sprints.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Jamaica responded with a podium sweep in the women's 100, just to make it clear. And I mean, Shelly-Ann, just so amazing. Equaled the world lead for the third time, 10:67. 7 women ran under 11 seconds. I mean, that's never happened before.
Wow.
And of course, Shelly-Ann with her 5th individual title at 35. Wow.
Can we just talk about their... Go on. So we just need to talk about the Jamaican women's wig game as well, because their hair changes between every round. They've come with supplies.
She really is amazing. I mean, every round it's a different color. She says it keeps her mind relaxed, because she's not focusing too much on the race. It gives it a lighter side, and it helps her to relax, and it sure does.
I'm just always worried I'm always worried she's going to do a blessing and have her hair cut.
Yes.
But it's clearly fastened a lot more securely, isn't it? So.
Well, apparently she almost did in the 200-meter semi.
She did, yeah. No, she did her hair on the way, yeah.
Exactly. Now, isn't it also amazing that Elaine Thompson-Herah in 3rd? This is her first medal at the World Championships.
Over 100.
I mean, she got
200 silver, didn't she?
But it's over the 100, right? First individual medal over the 100.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, if you're going to come out, if you're going to choose the Olympic year or the World Championship year to be the dominant force, then I think she made the right choice.
But isn't it weird how that happens sometimes? So, Pavel Fidek has got only 1 Olympic bronze, and he's got 5 World Championship golds. I mean, it's just crazy, and it's just pure chance. What happens on one particular year? You can't determine when an injury is going to happen, can you? Or when you're just going to lose your form. It's very, very strange when that happens.
Yeah, definitely. Now, a quick one on the hurdles on the 110, because we've spoken a bit about the 400 is like top drama there. Of course, in the US, they were all upset that Devon Allen, who had run this amazing 12:84, he was DQ'd because his reaction time was 1,000th of a second below the time. But Hansel Parchment getting injured on warm up on the track, and he was looking really sharp.
He looks amazing. I mean, he was the favourite to win. Just to comment on the Devon Allen situation, it was really sad. Like, you don't want to see someone go out on a false start in their home championships, at possibly their last championships. You don't also want to see it go by 1,000th of a second, which is a time that's like not quantifiable to us at all. But there has to be a line somewhere of when what that line is, and that is the line. And if you go under it, you can't run. I mean, what if you allow 99, are you going to allow 98? Are you going to allow 90? Where's the line? That is the line. That's the rules. And unfortunately, he was the wrong side of them this time. But it's funny, isn't it? Every time Americans break the rule, not intentionally, they think the rules are wrong and the rules need to be changed.
But at the same time, Devon didn't say anything. It was more the media and the fans that.
Oh, absolutely, no.
Yeah, not Devon. No,
I mean, Devon is super correct. He's a really cool guy, and I mean, it's like you say, when he false started in Dago, he also took it really like a sportsman, saying, "Okay, these are the rules. I messed up, my fault." And Devon was the same.
Agreed.
And in any case, I don't think. If he hadn't DQ'd and Hansel hadn't been injured, they would not have had a podium sweep in any case, because I think Devon, Hansel Parchment was looking really brilliant.
I agree.
Now, you're not mega fans of the hurdle, of the mixed relay, but gosh, Dominican Republic, they were so amazing. because, I mean, Marilady Paulino, she's been at the top of her game for years, but they also now have Fiordalisa Cofil as well. So they have two amazing ladies. The men are getting better and better because Alexander Ogando, he's done great things this year. I was so thrilled to see them take that one.
Well, you say we're not a fan of the mixed 4x4, but I'm a huge fan of the Dominican Republic winning the mixed 4x4. Just
and
like
Poland winning
last year. Yeah, so I'm loving these results. I don't love the event, but I'm absolutely loving the results. And it's what we keep saying. It's about all those different countries that win medals. And I think that's so important. There's no other sport where that happens in, you know. For a Dominican Republic to be able to go back home with a gold medal, think what that does for the sport in the Dominican Republic, you know. And also they're getting better. We've seen, you know, it's not just one runner. There's 2, 3. It's great. It's fantastic for the sport, just like it is when, say, Peru and India and that winning gold medals as well these days. That's what I really support.
All these Caribbean countries, Jamaica, Bahamas, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, are tiny countries. But, you know, tiny countries with, like, I think, isn't Bahamas like, wasn't there like 300,000 people or something live in the Bahamas?
Something. I think per capita, they're like the greatest nation in athletics, aren't they?
This is what's so great about athletics, because you need some equipment, and yes, you need a track, but you don't need, like, in Britain, we're great at sailing, horse riding, like cycling, things that cost billions of pounds.
Not canoeing, rowing.
Things that you sit down to do, apparently, is what we're good at. But for athletics, you don't need loads and loads of equipment. It is a relatively accessible sport. And these smaller countries can be supremely successful at them, at these sports. And obviously, a lot of them go to university in America, which has a great system. It's easy accessible for Caribbean athletes. So it's great to see these small countries have this kind of success. And success breeds success, and we love to see it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Now, let's move on quickly to middle and long distances. So, I mean, Jake Whiteman, really, that was absolutely something. And what was also amazing is that you had 5 Europeans in the top spot. And that had never happened on the 1500. It's happened a bunch of times on the throws, but in the 1500, 5 Europeans is like, whoa.
But again, that's also really good for the sport. You know, it's really good when because if whole areas start giving up on certain events because they think they can't win them anymore, which I think has happened for a bit with the middle and long distances, assuming that the Africans are going to win. It's really important that we have some diversity, as it were, you know, some variety. In the same way that it's really good that we have Africans and Asian and Caribbean people winning the javelin now. You know, it's really important that we mix it up. And so just to see that is really heartening. It means that, like, there's nothing is out of reach for anyone at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Now, women's 10,000. I love Letsenbet Gidey, and I was so happy that she got her first global gold. I mean, the lady has 3 world records, which she set in the last 21 months. But she hadn't won gold, so that was, and it again, amazing depth in that race.
Yeah,
Helen
really
O'Beary still there, moved up because now she's going to focus on road races. So she said, okay, let's move out of my territory, the 5, and go to the 10. But that was really great race, and great.
But we talk about Gidey at last having won a gold medal. She's really young. She's not been around very long. Yes, she's got these world records. I'm no disrespect to her at all, but these whole racing light things, which people are following around for world records, for me is a little bit of an illegitimate world record, in the sense that, you know, when you look at the world records that Tirunes Dubaba set, when she had to pace herself most of the race, and the fluctuation in split times, because you're doing it all yourself, is really detrimental to running fast times. Whereas you can just follow a light. And then there's like metronomic pace. Well, of course it's metronomic pace because they're literally following a metronome. So yes, she ran those times. Yes, she's a phenomenal talent, and she's a beautiful athlete to watch as well. But I'm a little bit upset with these world records using pacing lights. But just to say also, I was very happy to see her win in a sprint finish, because she's fast. But she's not got that sprint, or hasn't had until this year.
She doesn't have that change of pace, does she? So she has to change of pace. But we're talking about Helen O'Beary. I feel like she's kind of retired or moved to the roads about 5 times now, and yet every championship she comes back and wins, be it indoors or country or roads or track. You know, it doesn't matter what you throw at her; she's always going to be there, isn't she? So, did she do the 5K yesterday? I can't remember.
No. She focused on the 10. I mean, she and Faith Kipyegon, they're the ones Kenya can always count on to medal. So Helen didn't win this time. Faith did, amazing. But they are so strong and so dependable, and I really like both ladies.
Absolutely.
But I also love Gokha Cheptegei, and I was so happy that he could repeat his gold. Surprise with Japan-based Kenyan Stanley Mburu. That was someone people weren't expecting. And Jacob Kiplimo is again in bronze, so that was cool. Mm-mm.
But it's now, also good that, you know, as we say, we now have Uganda in the mix. Uganda along with Ethiopia and Kenya. So again, it's not just those two countries, it's another country. They're right next door, they're neighbours, but like it's another country in the mix, which diversifies the sport again. It's more countries that coming in, more countries getting medals, which, you know, it's a running theme with us, but I just think that's really important and really exciting to see.
Exactly, and there really is this strong friendly rivalry between Uganda and Kenya. So my friends in Uganda are always thrilled when one of their athletes comes out tops. Now, Nora Geruto, running for Kazakhstan now in the 3,000 steeplechase, that was an extremely impressive performance. 8:53:02. That was absolutely fantastic. Third best of all times. And Winfried Yavi only in fourth, fading away in the last 200. That was also a totally amazing race.
But I just want to point out that the steeplechase has been a bit funny for the last few years. Lots of different people winning. Kenyans moving to different countries. So it's a little bit confusing for us. Obviously, Nora Geruto wasn't able to compete last year because she'd moved to Kazakhstan. So there's not been a consistency in winners in this event. It's all different people. And I just wanted to say a bit about Yavi coming fourth. This is something that we see time and time again, especially in the women's steeplechase, is the lack of technique. She lost that because she lost so much time over that last water jump. And it's very strange to me that people don't put in some effort into learning how to do basic hurdling. And obviously it's very difficult, and the longer you go, the more difficult it is. But they don't even start off with any hurdling technique. And you can win and lose. And as you know, as Emma Coburn showed, who's got immaculate technique. Even Geruto, is it Nora Geruto, right? Very, very good technically over hurdles. And in an event like that, where I don't know exactly how many hurdles you have, but if you lose a meter each time, that's the race lost. And so it would behoove a lot of them to put in a little bit more effort in the technical aspects of the steeplechase.
Yeah, knee first just isn't a good technique, is it?
Yeah, and it's true. You see such a difference in the way they go over that hurdle. It's sometimes, and some of them you're like, ooh.
I'm genuinely surprised more people don't sort of come a cropper. You know, it looks really dangerous often, doesn't it? You know, it looks really dangerous, and you're surprised more people don't fall over all the time.
Well, French runner Alice Finot, who had a wonderful, competition. She destroyed the French record, and then she was almost on the same pace for the record, and she just flipped over, smack into the water jump in the last jump. But she picked herself up, and she was only 7 seconds behind the French record, which if she hadn't fallen and gotten totally drenched in there, would probably have been a good time.
Talking of records, go ahead. So talking of records,
you go.
Talking of records, we need to give a shout out to Amy Pratt from Britain, who set a British record in the heats and another one in the final. I think she came 7th, was it? That is so brilliant. We love Amy Pratt in Britain because she always goes for it. I remember her first at the British trials in 2018, I think it was, where she just ran out by herself to get the qualifying. She's just one of the athletes you really cheer on, you really support, because she always gives it, like, I hate this expression, but 110%. So pleased to see that. And it's about time that Britain had a steeplechaser who was getting down to those world-class times. 9:15 is a world-class time. It's a time that will get you into finals. It's a time that could potentially get you medals at the European Champs. So fingers crossed that continues on.
Now, marathon, it was Ethiopia, double in the men and the women. And Kimberly Garcia, we've already mentioned, that was totally amazing. And she's running she's walking, sorry.
Walking.
In just a few hours. And by the way, why do the men have 2 more days to rest before they contest the 35K? The men are doing it on Sunday.
Who knows?
The schedule's very weird. This whole schedule is very, very strange.
Yeah.
I mean, there was only two finals last night, wasn't there?
Look at the sprinters. They had to run the first round of the 200 the night, just a few hours after running the final the night before. And the guys had a day in between. So what is this?
Yeah. The 400, they had the 4 relay, then they had a 400 heat, then they had a day off, then they had a 400 heat, and then they had 2 days off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think was there only two? There was only 2 gold medals last night, wasn't there?
Yeah,
only
the 200s. And the night before there was only the
discus and the women's steeplechase.
Discus and the steeplechase. It's just really
no, they had some throwing events as well. It was 4 finals the previous night.
Okay.
Last night. Okay. It's just a bit sort of thin in place. It's just a bit odd. I always think it's a bit strange they don't have a sort of a standard timetable that they can change a bit depending on where you are, but it can completely change from championship to championship. It's sometimes like wildly different.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I think the 5,000 or 10,000, no, the 10,000 women, they were running like at midday.
Yes.
Yes.
Come on. Why? Anyway, so field events, high jump, the amazing Mota's Barshim, that was so fantastic. He's such a wonderful character, a wonderful athlete. This is his 3rd consecutive World Championship gold, all of them with 2 meters 37. 2 meters 37 also in Tokyo. That was absolutely amazing. Really, really. Yeah. And he's one of my favorite athletes. And he makes it so effortless.
Yes.
You look at him and he really is flying. He had this thing, what gravity, huh? Well, that is Mota. He's fantastic. Big surprise, of course, for women.
Yes, yeah.
So Eleanor Patterson, equaling the Oceania record to take a surprise win over Yaroslava Maguchik. Wow.
Yeah, because she was good indoors, but her best was 198, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So to come out and to do that, to improve that much in a competition is really impressive.
Yes.
Mahuchik, it was down to a second attempt, which people, I mean, obviously you always try your best, but I feel like sometimes people, this is not for her because obviously she's been great, but sometimes people forget about like the earlier heights. And, people have lost gold medals because of a failure at 185 or something.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one athlete, sorry, I'm being a little bit chauvinistic here, but I was quite impressed with Elena Valortigara.
Absolutely.
Because she had never won a senior medal. She took bronze at 30 years of age, and she cleared all her attempts on the first. She cleared all the heights on the first one. So, wow. Well done, Elena.
Wasn't she out for years? Wasn't she out for like 5 years or something?
No. She was there, but she never. She was, I guess, a little bit emotional, so she felt the pressure a lot on big events. She was around, but she was really, really focused this time, and she was. I mean, honestly, I didn't expect her to medal. She's already jumped over 2 meters. But doing it again and in with such self-assuredness, wow, congratulations.
Yes.
Now, long jump men, we have to mention big surprise by China's Wang Jianan in the last round. That was absolutely great. Of course, Miltiadis Tedoglu wasn't thrilled. Decathlete Simone Hammer, I was really rooting for Simon because I just love this story that he has by far the best jump this year, and he did it during a decathlon. So he was one of my emotional favorites, but unfortunately it didn't materialize. Of course, Yuli Marrojas
Tentoglu has won everything but the Worlds, and we just assumed he was winning this as well. In fact, he was winning it, wasn't he, until like the very last minute.
He's only 24, right?
He's only 24, which is amazing. I thought he was like nearly 30. He just seems to have been around forever, and he's won everything there is to win, almost. 24, think how much longer he's got to go. He's really racking it up to become like, we haven't had a really...
dominant,
really dominant long jumper for a long time, and he was really beginning to look that way. I suspect he's going to continue for a few years yet.
Yeah, definitely. He should. Now, Yuli Marrojas, I just love her. She is such a wonderful lady. She didn't jump as far as she would have loved to. She's going for 16 meters, but she still had 3 jumps over 15 meters and was the only athlete to pass that barrier. So,
the thing is, because she's so amazing, she only jumped 15:47, and so we're a little bit disappointed. Only one person has ever jumped further than that, ever, or apart from herself. Only one other person has jumped further, and we're like, oh, that wasn't great. But yeah, she's a delight, absolute delight. She's fun, she's charismatic, she engages with the crowd. She's just she's perfection. And she'll get 16 meters.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
She'll get it. As I say, I mean, she had injuries this year. She wasn't, she'd competed very little, and she wasn't at the top. But as you say, it's ridiculous that we're kind of disappointed with 15:47. Now the throws. Another podium sweep for the U.S. I mean, Ryan Krauser and Joe Kovacs, you would kind of expect, but Joshua Wotunde in third. Wow.
Yeah, and he's someone who obviously raised his game at the championships because it was a big PB for him, I believe. And also we are used to, there's a top 3, isn't there, in the shot put, and I forgot, his name escapes me.
Walsh.
Yes, of course. The assumption is that those 3 are going to get the medals, and then Darlan
Romani. You think, he's got a chance.
Yeah, like he might get in there. So it was a surprise, but Americans at the shot put are phenomenal. So
there's just a conveyor belt, isn't there? There's just a conveyor belt.
Yeah.
And Ryan Krauser finally won a world championship gold because he hadn't, and that's crazy as well.
Yeah, once again, like you just assumed that he would have, but obviously the last 2 times, last 3 times he's been beaten by the guys just behind him this time.
Yeah. Now the men's discus, Christian Che has been really very, very strong this year, even though Daniel Stahl had the world lead, and he was only 4th. But then what I find really interesting, that you have 2 Lithuanians, Mykolas Alekna in silver, age 19, and Andrius Gudzius, age 31. So that's the kind of little thing I find is a lot of fun. Again, 5 Europeans in top spots, which is nothing new. I think once they had all 8 finalists, which were Europeans, but 67 meters, all 5 of them over 67 meters, and that is something new. And as we were saying, the level of these championships has been absolutely fabulous.
And we didn't see a lot of the discus on the sorry, we didn't see a lot of discus on the television. They just didn't show a lot. But baby Alekna is scary. So he's 19. What was he through 69?
Yeah, 19.
Considering his pedigree, I think there's a lot more to come there, isn't there?
Yeah, and to be winning in a heavy throw at that age, to win any medal, I mean, to even be competitive at a heavy throw at that age is insane. Because he's been throwing a lower weight discus, hasn't he? I don't know if is he 20 this year? Is he no longer a junior? So it would have been his first year really competing with this weight of discus. So you can imagine the improvement that can come from him. Very scary. And Che is very young as well, isn't he? So real young crop of heavy throwers. Really good.
Yeah. Mm-mm. So as we saw, Pavel Fajdek, 5th consecutive title. And he's one of these athletes who's good at the Worlds and who always feels the pressure at the Olympic Games. Now, Hammer, first time you have 3 North American ladies with Brooke Anderson, Cameron Rogers of Canada, and Jenny Casanavoid, and she's the first North American Native American to medal. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Now, Nafi Thiam, that was another amazing competition, the heptathlon. Such good level. 5 athletes had more than 6,500 points. It had happened only once before. That was in 2017. But there, the 6th and 7th, they had a lot less points than the ladies here. That was fantastic. And again, I was happy for Nafi Thiam. She comes back from injury and she wins it again. Anouk Vetter set a great national record. Anna Hall, I mean, she's really one to look out for. And I loved how at the NCAAs, she also begged her coach to let her run the 400 hurdles, and she gets silver. And that race was less than an hour before the 800 meter.
Yeah, I mean, let's say,
one amazing lady.
2 things. I just want to talk about Nafi Thiam and how spectacular she is. And what she's done, which is what a lot of heptathletes aren't able to do, is work on her weaker events and bring them up to a level. She doesn't. Jessica Ennis did this very well. Jessica Ennis naturally wasn't a thrower, but she went away and she worked really hard. And she's obviously very coachable and very knowledgeable, and she picks things up and she listens. And she came on to her throws were like 1460, I think, in the shot, and 48 meters in the javelin. And Nafi's done the same with the opposite events. I mean, she wasn't fast, was she? She was running outside 25 seconds for the 200. She was high 13s in the hurdles, and sometimes 220 in the 800. And now she's running low 24s. She's running 13.2. She's running. She just ran 2:13 in the 800 meters. So she doesn't.
And the long jump as well. She never used to be a long jump.
Exactly. Yes, she was 6:20 in the long jump. Now she can jump 6:80 in the long jump. And it's that ability to go away and learn. And I think it's a mentality more than anything, because I think everyone has the ability to pick up new skills, but some people don't. I don't know if they just rest on their laurels. They just work on the stuff they're comfortable with. They get in their head. British heptathletes, historically, we've had some issues with people in the throws, and they seem to get stuck in one place. Where Nafi could have quite easily gone, oh, do you know what? I'm not fast. I'll just work on, I'm good at the high jump, and I'll just throw even further. She's obviously had an issue with her elbow. So her javelin and shot put, they're still great, but maybe she won't get up to the 16 meters and the nearly 60 meters previously. So instead, she'll make up a few more points in the 800. That's what makes a great heptathlete, is being able to have that balance. And she's an absolute genius. And I did want to just mention Anna Hall, because she's my favorite new athlete of the championships. We'd seen pictures of her, and we'd seen like a little bit of her competing in NCAA and the American trials, but I'd not seen any of her personality. I didn't see any of her enthusiasm. And she's loved every second of it. And I think that's what's brought out the great performances, just being there, enjoying yourself, not letting the stress get to you, having fun. The javelin, I mean, I don't think technically she's that great, but she just runs and flings it for her. That just gives it everything. And she's running 45, 46 meters. So, yeah, she's brilliant. And I'm really excited to see her coming up. She's only 21. So, there's so much more to come from her.
I definitely agree. I also love Anna Hall. Fantastic. She just has this freshness and enthusiasm, and really lovely lady. Mm-mm. So let's recap now some of the impressive stats from these World Championships, starting with records. So under 20 world record for Letsile Tebogo over the 100 meters. Yeah. So in the heats on the 15th of July, he runs 9:94. Now, then, unfortunately, he had a bad start in the semis and only clocks 10:17 and doesn't make the final. But still, it was really good for Letsile because he'd run 9:96 in Gaborone on the end of April, but the mark finally was not ratified because the equipment hadn't been tested. So it was cool that he got it this time round.
And next week, I'm guessing he'll be at the Commonwealth Games. So, you know, there's still potentially a gold medal for him this year.
Exactly. Now, world under 18 best equaled in the high jump by Carmen Bruce, 196, finishing 7th. Now, what's amazing about Carmen is her PB last year was 1.80 m. So she improved it 4 times indoor, 4 times outdoor. And she, you know, in qualifying, she improved it to 193, and in the final, 196. So
how do you even like so much?
Yes.
Wow.
Now, of course, in that final, we had an area world record by Eleanor Patterson, who equaled the 2.02 m. And another area record, which was also, of course, a championship record and world lead in the men's 400 hurdles by our favorite Alison Dos Santos. Other area records, 100 meters Zoe Hobbs. Now she's improved quite a few, both on the 60 meters indoor and on the 100 meters. She had an excellent year. It's her 4th PB in 2022, and 11:08 is Oceania record.
And just also talking about New Zealand 100-meter runners, there was another New Zealand 100-meter record broken as well by Edward Osei Nkatia, and he broke his own dad's national record.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That was fantastic. Now, area record in the 200 for Brazil's Vitalia Christina Mota. And that one was from back in 2010. So well done, Vitalia, finally made it. Now, of course, on a super fast track like Eugene, there was going to be loads of world leads, and that's what happened. Let's look at the ones from 15 to 20 July. We're forgetting about the 200 meters for the moment. So here they are. Alison Dos Santos, as we said, he's not lost a race this year on the hurdles, including 4 Diamond League meetings. So resounding victory in 46:29, well ahead of Rai Benjamin. Now that mark is worth a whopping 1,322 points, the highest result score of the year outdoor, even better than Mondo's 13:11 in the pole vault, and equaling the score which Mondo had with his indoor 6.20 m. So congratulations. I was really happy that Carsten was back. Sorry that he didn't make it. He was really not, he didn't have the competition sharpness and faded in the home straight. So Pavel Fajdek, first world lead in the hammer. On 18 July, Mutaz Barshim with his 2:37. Again, all measures on his first attempt. Hats off, Mutaz.
Absolutely.
Jake Whiteman.
Yay!
Fantastic. Yay! And we'll talk more about Jake. And of course, Alison Dos Santos. Among the women, there were a few more, starting with Letzenbet Gidey on the 10,000. On the same day, both Katie Najot and Sandy Morris, they both cleared 485. Then Nafitiam, 6,947 points. Yulimar Rojas and Nora Geruto with her fantastic 8:53.02. And in the mixed relay, obviously that's an event that is not contested very often. So the US set the world lead in the heats, and then Dominican Republic smashed it in the final. Now let's look at... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's so early in the year. We've got all these like crazy times already, and we've still got like more than 2 months to go or something, haven't we? So with 2 major championships coming up, certainly for some parts of the world.
Yeah, exactly. You've got European Games, Commonwealth Games. There's so much still to happen. So really, really great.
Anna, are we going to see you in Munich?
I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, if you do the
maybe
beers on us,
just go for a few days.
Yes, let us know.
Otherwise, I'm doing some Diamond League meetings because those are short and sweet. It's all compact. It definitely wasn't worth it for me going to Eugene, but Munich, I'll try for at least a few days.
Okay, you let us know. We'll have to go dancing with you.
Oh yes. I'm not Irena Shevchinska, but it'll still be great fun. So World Championships first. We spoke about the first gold for Kimberly Garcia. Now, Peru had never won a medal with in the senior, so to make it a gold, that was fantastic. Shelly-Ann, 5 times world champion. That had never happened. Then it's Kazakhstan first gold with Nora Geruto. Kazakhstan, of course, had silver and bronzes, notably with their triple jumper Olga Ripakova, but still a fantastic one. Let's have a quick look at superlatives. So on the first day of the championships, Fred Curley went out to a massive 9:79, fastest heat at the World or Olympic Championships. Now that's something that's a little bit special about this event, is that there's been quite a few events in which times in the heats were faster than times in the finals, which is a little bit unprecedented. And then, of course, as you said, Alison Felix got her chance to add another medal. So she's now got a total of 13 gold, 3 silver, and 3 bronzes.
I just want to say something about Alison. And like, listen, there's nothing to criticize Alison about, because she's like absolutely not just a phenomenal athlete, but a phenomenal person. And the way she holds herself and the way she's competed over these so many years is phenomenal. But, and I know I'm being a little bit petty now, when you look at her medal tally, it is not almost all, but so many of them are relay medals, and her individual medal tally isn't as impressive, as it's really bolstered by relay medals. And it's a shame for athletes who don't have the ability to win relay medals. Shawnee, for example, or someone who doesn't come from a country that has the ability to put together a really strong relay team, that people who can get relay medals. I don't like to include relay medals in people's tallies, because I don't think it's fair to people who aren't able to get them.
I agree. I totally agree with you. Okay. No disrespect to Alison, but
Not
I totally agree.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like her Olympic, she only has 1 Olympic gold individual medal, which is just insane when you look at her record. She's got the 200 from 2012. That's the only individual Olympic gold she has.
Yes.
Controversial.
So then who do we have? Pavel Fajdek, 5 times world champion, tied with Lars Riedel, but Lars Riedel had a bronze in 99, so his titles were not consecutive. So first consecutive 5 titles. And of course, Sergei Bubka still has the highest tally with 6 successive.
And also, let's not forget that Sergei won in 83, when before the World Championships was every 2 years. So he definitely would have won. I can't say definitely, but in 85 and 89, it's more than likely, because he was world number 1, that he would have won as well. So he potentially would have 8 in a row.
Yes.
If you had those medals back in the day.
Yeah. So that is definitely super valuable because, as you say, it used to be 4-year intervals at the beginning. Then Shelly-Ann, 5 times a world champion. Now that's the first time it's happened among the women. So congratulations, really fantastic, Shelly-Ann. And at 35, she's the oldest champion on track.
Now, just to say, and it's like Anita Blaszczak was got 4, hasn't she? If she hadn't been injured, she very well might have made her 5. So she's got next year to make up.
Exactly.
Of course, it's only next year, isn't it?
It's next year, yes.
Oh God.
And then, of course, Mota's Barshim, 3rd consecutive gold, first time it's happened. Now let's have a look at the podium sweeps. Again, from the 15 to the 20th. So we had 3 of them. US sweep in the 100, Curly, Marvin Bracey, Trayvon Bromell. It's the 3rd time this was achieved by the US. They also did it in 1983 and in 1991. Shot put, this is the first time that any country, certainly the US, has a podium sweep. And the Jamaican women responded in the 100. It's the first time they've done it at the World Championships. Now, of course, they had already done it at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Now, repeat champions. The first was Toshikazu Yamazaki on the 20K. Pavel Fajdek in the hammer. Grant Holloway. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price. Motaz Barshim. And Yuli Marrojas. Now, there's 2 athletes who had already won gold in Eugene, and that was back in 2014 when they were under 20, and that's China's Wang Jianan. He was a world junior champion, and Joshua Cheptegei.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's a good start.
Yeah. No, that's really great. There's other athletes who won gold, who had won who had competed at the World Under 20. El Bakali was 4th. Yuli Marrojas, she reached the final in the long jump, but she was only 11th, and she didn't make the cut in the triple. But those 2, they were outstanding at both the junior and senior levels. Now, some special things from the World Championships. On 17 July, Mongolia's Bat Ochirin said Ser Odd. He was only 26th in the marathon, but the guy has completed every single Olympic and World Championship marathon since 2003. Fantastic.
I remember him. I think he won the Brighton Marathon a few years ago, which is the only marathon I've ever run in. Well, I can't say run. I ran to 18 miles and then I crawled for 8 miles.
Wow. No, that was great. As we said, Gianni Castanavoid, first Native American to medal at the World Championship. And she's spoken about how important it is for her to have this huge performance on this huge scale in front of the United States on native soil. So she's really into it. And I love her Instagram handle, which is Nye Throws a Big Rock. I love that. So 1500, as we said, that was quite amazing with 5 Europeans in the top 15. And what was also quite amazing for Jeff Whiteman, who's both the father and coach of Jake, is to be, calling his son's winning race. That was really a special.
There's a video going around. It's on Catherine Merry's Twitter. It's got over 1 million views of she's recording Jeff while he's commentating on Jake. And it's like the way he keeps his composure. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea how he does that. It was really, it's really something to watch.
Yeah, it's great. And then when at some point the camera was on him, so he's like having to explain, he's my son and he's the world champion. But he remains very composed.
Yeah. It's got 961,000 views on Catherine Merry's Twitter at the moment. That's the biggest tweet she's ever done.
Now, both of Jake's parents were elite marathon runners. Jeff had a PB of 2 hours 13, and his mother, Susan, née Tubi, she was his first coach. She has the PB of 2:31. And for good measure, Aunt Angela Tubi was the 1988 World Cross Silver medalist. So that was pretty impressive. What a family, definitely. Now, one moment which is not really from Eugene, but I love this little poem that Nicola McDermott, now Ollie Slagers, composed when she was 8 years old about her high jump dream. That was so cute that even though she wasn't in the medals this time, I just want to mention it because that was really lovely. So now, unfortunately, we have to look at, there she is.
Oh, she's 8.
And she definitely made her dream come through in Tokyo last year. So well done for dreaming about it when she was 8 years old.
We all feel like cookies and cream.
Isn't that cute? I mean, it's so sweet. She needed to find a rhyme for dream. So now, unfortunately, we also need to have a look at various world championship and Olympic Games medalists who didn't make the final. Now, Marcel Jacobs in the 100 meter, of course, he was the gold in Tokyo, but he was injured and he pulled out, not wanting to aggravate his injury. Same thing with Andre de Grasse, 200 meters Olympic champion. Donovan Brazier, world championships gold, and he was out in the heats. As
He's
was
have an operation next week, isn't he?
Yes. Benjamin Keegan, 3,000 meter steeplechase Olympic bronze. He was out. Now, Tajay Gale, of course, we knew he'd been badly injured in the Jamaican championships, and he didn't make it back. Among the women, Vashti Cunningham, she didn't clear her qualifying height. Holly Bradshaw, she was also injured. Malvina Copron, she was an Olympic bronze and she didn't make the qualifying. And neither did Maria Andrejczyk in the javelin, and she'd been a silver in Tokyo. Now, all the attention was focused on Eugene, but there was another world lead, which was set by someone who couldn't compete in Oregon, and that's Angelica Sidorova. So in the pole vault, a day after the U.S. duo cleared 4:85, actually 3 days later, she cleared 4 meters 86 in the Moscow championships. So congratulations, honestly, for keeping her motivation, because it must not be easy.
Absolutely.
So we've been giving our impressions about performances in Eugene, but we're going to open up the debate now, and we have reaction videos from journalists and officials around the world. So let's take a look. Ugandan journalist Olivia Nakate talks about her joy as Joshua Cheptegei took 10,000-meter gold.
My name is Olivia Nakate, and I'm a sports journalist with Urban TV Uganda. I've been and I'm still following World Athletics Championships on TV, just like many Ugandans here in the country. Joshua's medal came in the right time when we really wanted this medal, because after losing it to Balega in 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games, I felt that we needed to win this medal, or maybe Joshua needed to defend his title. When this race started, in fact, I watched this race standing. I didn't sit any second. So I felt like even pushing him to run even faster. So when he crossed the finishing line, it really felt so good. There is, that pride that comes with winning. And the best part was when the national anthem for Uganda was being played. It really felt so good. I even cried, because it comes with this pride, because everyone stands up for Uganda. I was watching this race with my family and some neighbors who came to watch, and everyone kept shouting, "Joshua go, Joshua go." So it was really, really fun. And when he crossed that finishing line, everyone jumped, including me. I was like, yes, he has done it. There's a moment I felt like I needed to enter maybe the TV and then push Joshua to run even faster. Joshua's win is an inspiration to many. Joshua is that person who inspires to be the best of me every day. He has won a lot of stuff, and myself, I'm like, okay, if Joshua never gave up, I know I can achieve. So it's an inspiration to many Ugandans, not me only, but to many. So when you see Joshua, you feel like, okay, let's do it. I know we can do the best out of it.
Thank you, Olivia. Jamaica's Andre Lowe discusses the podium sweep by his amazing compatriots in the women's 100 meters.
Looking back at the women's 100 meters final at the World Championships in Eugene, Oregon, there was a sense of, I suppose, expectation. It certainly went just about how most Jamaicans, and I think track and field fans across the world, would have expected it to have gone. Very little doubt in anybody's minds that the Jamaican trio of Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, Sharika Jackson, and Elaine Thompson-Herah would have dominated the women's 100 meters in Eugene, like they did at the Tokyo Olympics last year, and like they have been doing all season on the circuit. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce was, for most Jamaicans, the overwhelming favorite, not just because of her likable personality. She's definitely everybody's darling sprinter, but she certainly has been the most consistent. Multiple times in the 10-6 range, her form has actually improved. It's remarkable that at 35 years old, she is improving in an event that she has been doing for such a long time. She's far more upright in her last phase and showing a lot more strength in that era, which was, of course, her weakest point. Sharika Jackson, just her second year in the event, but continues to show tremendous improvement, consistently 10-7s though, and I think for most persons, she was in a better shape than Elaine Thompson-Herah coming into these championships. Elaine Thompson, of course, changing her coach, changing her training environment, now being conditioned by her husband, Darren Herah, and for that reason, I think a lot of persons were, a little skeptical and doubtful of what she could deliver. But I think it was clear to most that she was still better than everybody else except her two countrywomen. So a lot of appreciation, a lot of gratitude and excitement here in Jamaica after that event, particularly because the American men swept the 100 meters, and I think a lot of Jamaicans wanted to respond, so to speak, and thankfully for our sake that happened. I think there's also this tremendous appreciation and recognition of the immense talent and ability of Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, who has managed to stay on top for such a long period and continue to push the boundaries in her event. No doubt in anybody's mind, she is the greatest female sprinter of all time. Of course, the commentary team or the commentator in Eugene did refer to her as the greatest sprinter of all time, male or female. That's up for debate. Most persons would want to point to the fact that a certain Usain Bolt did it in the 100 meters and the 200 meters, plus all those world records as well. So what I will say is that we are certainly grateful that we have no doubt the best female sprinter of all time, no doubt the best male sprinter of all time, and among those two, somewhere there, the best sprinter of all time.
Thank you, Andre. Up next, Chinese journalist Vincent Wu Junquan talks about the last gap victory by long jumper Wang Jianan.
So, to be honest, Wang Jianan's gold medal was kind of unexpected, even for himself. After his competition, we did a small virtual video interview, and he told me that before the last jump, he watched the big screen in the stadium, and he realized that a jump over 8.15 meters would give him a medal. So that was his target for his last jump, over 8.15 and for a medal. As we all know, the jump was quite good, and after he landed, he looked back, he found the flag, okay, the jump is valid, and he knows the jump was good enough to give him a medal, but even at that moment, he didn't realize that the jump can lift him to the leading position and can give him the gold medal at last. For him, Eugene was quite a special place, because 8 years ago he won the World Junior title here, and now it's the world title, and also it was the home country of his coach, Randy Huntington, so it's very special for him.
Thank you, Vincent. And Venezuela's Andrea Herrera talks about the third consecutive gold for Yulimas Rojas and what it means to her compatriots all over the world.
Hola Ana, un placer hablar contigo y con todos los apasionados del atletismo que siguen tu programa. Encantada de participar, sobre todo con la gran alegría que tenemos los venezolanos que seguimos el atletismo después de esta tercera corona outdoor de Yulimar Rojas, nuestra reina del triple salto. Para mí es particularmente grato ver a Yulimar evolucionar como la gran atleta que es hoy en día. La conocemos desde que tiene 14 años, la hemos visto crecer como atleta, como mujer, como persona, y nos parece espectacular el disparo que tuvo su carrera desde el año 2019. Que en esa evolución de Yulimar Rojas hemos visto fundamentalmente cómo ella ha pasado de ser una atleta casi tímida a ser una atleta muy segura de sí misma, muy llena de energía y muy alegre. A ella la mueve la alegría. Y en cada uno de esos sitios donde hay un venezolano, el día que Yulimar compite, la gente empieza a pedir ávidamente que le envíen el link donde poder ver la competencia. Y Yulimar en ese sentido ha sabido y ha podido aglutinar el cariño de los venezolanos que sienten que es una de las alegrías, de las pocas alegrías que podemos tener en los últimos tiempos, y que conseguimos a través de Yulimar una identificación con el éxito y con el logro. Saludos a todos los apasionados del atletismo mundial.
Muchas gracias, Andrea. Finally, we have Puerto Rican journalist Wilfredo Torres, who has written books about athletics in the Dominican Republic, and he talks about the country's gold in the mixed relay.
El relevo mixto corto de la República Dominicana tuvo una extraordinaria actuación. Ya anteriormente, dicho relevo había participado en los pasados Juegos Olímpicos, donde lograron conseguir una medalla de plata. En esta ocasión, la buena calidad competitiva de los corredores de 400 metros, tanto en la rama femenil como en la rama varonil, le dieron el éxito. Abrió el relevo Lidio Félix, que había realizado 44.62 en los Juegos Iberoamericanos. Le siguió en gran forma la corredora subcampeona olímpica Marilady Paulino. Marilady Paulino remató en este relevo cuando este año ha realizado 49.20, su mejor marca. En esta prueba siguió República Dominicana con buena actuación, en esta ocasión con Alexander Ogando, que recientemente marcó 20.01 en los 200 metros. Ogando es un fuerte corredor que remata al final y con buen tramo le pasó el batón a su compañera Fiordalisa Cofil. Fiordalisa Cofil, que es la corredora nueva en este relevo, este año realizó 50.62 en los Juegos Iberoamericanos. Muy bien organizado el relevo y sobre todo un relevo con aspiración a ganar una medalla olímpica. Felicitaciones por lo bien organizado que tuvieron esta prueba y sobre todo que en República Dominicana está desarrollando grandes atletas en pruebas de 400 metros y también en la vuelta al óvalo.
Muchas gracias, Wilfredo. So let's look now at upcoming events as we reach the end of our show. And of course, it is still all about the World Championships in Eugene. We're kind of ignoring everything else. We'll be back to other competitions at the beginning of July, of August, first week of August, when things heat up again. So we're now at the end of our program, and it was absolute delight having Jody and Bayo with us on the show.
Well, thank you very much for inviting us. It was an honor to speak to you.
It was great fun. I really enjoyed it a lot, and we could go on talking for hours. And now to everyone, remember that you can enjoy more of their expertise and passion on the Backstreet Boys podcast. So thank you all for watching, and see you next week on Love Athletics to look together at the highlights, comments, and analysis of what's been happening in the last 4 days of this fantastic World Championship in Oregon. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thanks
very
so
much.